I also think that Lauren Sanchez, we talk about this all the time. The more someone protests to the contrary, the more likely the opposite is to be true. Lauren Sanchez living her best life? I don't think so. I think she's paying a very, very, very high price.
He's walking out of a courtroom with a $5 billion legal victory against his own wife, Sanchez. What happened between the billionaire and the woman he once called the love of his life? How did a lavish Venetian fairy tale spiral into one of the most shocking celebrity betrayals we've ever seen? Because behind the glamour, behind the headline,
they would choose to stay in a relationship that is characterized by bullying, fear, and panic.
I think that the divorce and the affair definitely showed a side of Jeff Bezos that we weren't aware of, and I think it did make some investors nervous. It kind of showed a more reckless or a more personal side of his life, which I do think was kind of concerning to some people.
And behind the carefully curated Instagram photos was a war. A war filled with leaked secrets, courtroom bombshells, and one twist after another.
Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez get married because that's what you do when you are Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez. You invite only your close. I mean, you're literally one of the richest men in the world, worth $250 billion.
And the craziest part? No one saw it coming. IT was supposed to be the event of the centurion extravagant celebration of love between one of the richest men on earth and the woman who had captivated his heart. In true billionaire fashion, Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez shut down parts of Venice, Italy, for a jaw-dropping 3-day wedding that reportedly cost over $50 million. A-list celebrities, tech moguls, and influencers flooded into the city as guests. Luxury yachts lined the canals.
Well, look at what she's done and how she's led her life.
Designer gowns sparkled under golden chandeliers, and the world watched through filtered lenses and breathless headlines. But the magic didn't last. Almost immediately after the
divorce is expected to finalize within the next 90 days.
The final champagne toast, whispers started swirling. Guests began leaking unflattering details, complaints of chaotic planning, underwhelming food, and accommodations that didn't live up to the hype. One source even claimed it felt like a $50 million disaster.
Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez had a prime day at their wedding. The two said "I do" in Venice, Italy on Friday.
Up in diamonds. Then came the real bombshell, a full-on feud with the Kardashians. Not just Kim, but Kourtney and another sister, whose name reporters literally forgot mid-segment, reportedly clashed with Sanchez over drama that unfolded at the wedding itself. Rumors of a private altercation.
Breaking news coming out of the entertainment world, or at least the reality TV part of the world, in which we are finding that Lauren Sanchez, who recently got married to billionaire Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, is now in a war of words.
Spread like wildfire across gossip blogs and social media, with fans speculating that the newlyweds had managed to offend Hollywood royalty before even leaving the honeymoon suite. To make matters worse, some accused Bezos and Sanchez of staging the entire event for PR, prioritizing
some insane breaking news coming out of the entertainment world, or at least the reality TV part of the world, in which we are finding that Lauren Sanchez, who recently got married to billionaire Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, is now in a war of words with the Kardashians. And not just Kim Kardashian, but Kourtney Kardashian, and then the other one that I forget her name. Those three are in a war with Lauren Sanchez over what happened at Lauren Sanchez's wedding.
Optics over actual hospitality. Critics called it gaudy, tone-deaf, and embarrassingly out of touch. The headlines weren't celebrating their love. They were mocking it. And while the public laughed, behind the scenes, the tension was just beginning to rise. Because what the world didn't see was how this dream wedding became the spark that lit the fuse on something much darker behind the flawless wedding.
I just feel like the excessiveness of it is meant, it's the same thing as like fanning out your money and with a middle finger in front of it for the paparazzi. That's who it is, because they call the paparazzi. I am 100% convinced.
Yeah. Photos and carefully staged smiles, things were already falling apart. Sources close to the couple say the chaos didn't end when the guests flew home. In fact, that's when the real drama started. Arguments reportedly erupted almost immediately, private fights behind closed doors over everything from the guest list to the money spent. Insiders claim Sanchez's obsession with perfection led her to micromanage every detail, turning what should have been a joyful event into a logistical nightmare. Bezos, known for his precision and
all of these people don't know really what goes on behind closed doors between a couple. Only the two of them know, and they've decided to end it in a very graceful and civil manner and classy manner. And I think that matters.
control in the business world, was said to be furious. He felt blindsided, humiliated by how the event was portrayed in the media. The man who built Amazon on efficiency and scale watched his own wedding spiral into public mockery, and the tension didn't stay behind the scenes. Friends described once glamorous dinners turning into cold silences. Private vacations were cut short. Public appearances became stiff, calculated, almost rehearsed, like they were trying to convince the world.
So I also believe that this is, I columned on it for The Mail the other day, and I called it Jeff Bezos' big fat incel wedding. Because I think so much of this has always been, ever since he split with Mackenzie Scott and, his relationship, his extramarital relationship with Lauren came to light. They've both undergone significant physical transformations. Her face has become a sea of injectables, a repository for injectables, as have apparently her breasts.
And maybe themselves, that everything was fine, but it wasn't. According to insiders, Bezos began to feel like he was losing control not just of his image, but of the person he had trusted most. Sanchez's spending, her influence, and her growing role in his personal life had started to clash with Bezos's notoriously disciplined mindset. What once looked like a passionate romance was now cracking under pressure. And while the tabloids speculated about tension and cold stares, nobody had any idea just how far things would go, because while the public speculated about a failing marriage, Bezos was quietly preparing for something no one expected: a full-scale legal war. At first, the signs were subtle. Fewer public outings, awkward glances, carefully worded interviews. But then out of nowhere, Jeff Bezos made a move so shocking, it stopped the entertainment world in its tracks. He filed a $5 billion lawsuit against his own wife. The headlines exploded. The same man who had just walked down the aisle in a custom tuxedo, smiling for cameras and holding Lauren Sanchez's hand, was now accusing her of betrayal, breach of trust, and emotional damage on a scale almost unimaginable. People didn't know what to believe. Was this just billionaire drama taken to a new level? Or had something truly sinister unfolded behind the scenes? According to the legal documents, Bezos claimed Sanchez had leaked private information, personal conversations, sensitive details, and even business-related intel to outside sources. And not by accident. He alleged it was a calculated move, a betrayal orchestrated from within. Suddenly, the narrative flipped. The glamorous power couple who once seemed untouchable were now enemies, locked in a legal war so bizarre. It felt like fiction. But the documents were real. The accusations were damning. And the damage to both of their reputations was just getting started. This wasn't just a messy breakup. It was a full-on strategic takedown that would send shockwaves through the tech world, the media, and even the courtroom itself. And yet, as shocking as the lawsuit was in the beginning, because what came next would expose secrets neither of them ever wanted the world to hear. The lawsuit may have shocked the public, but what happened inside the courtroom was beyond anything anyone expected. Jeff Bezos didn't just accuse Lauren Sanchez of betrayal, backed it up with evidence. Real, raw, and deeply personal, Bezos' legal team came armed with everything: leaked text messages, encrypted emails, even secret audio recordings that allegedly captured Sanchez plotting with unnamed insiders. According to the filings, she had shared private details about Bezos' life and business, intimate conversations, strategic plans, and information never meant to leave their home. Worse, the lawsuit claimed it wasn't just gossip. It was sabotage. One message reportedly showed Sanchez discussing how certain leaks could humble Bezos in the public eye. Another appeared to reference payment transfers, funds allegedly sent to third parties to help distribute damaging material. And then came the offshore accounts, financial transactions so suspicious. Investigators were called in to track where the money was going and why. Witnesses took the stand, describing a disturbing pattern: confidential conversations recorded without consent, photos shared without approval, and private info sent to media outlets at key moments, all traced back to someone inside Bezos' inner circle. And all fingers pointed to Sanchez. Her team called it a smear campaign. Her lawyers insisted the messages were taken out of context, but the damage was done. The courtroom was electrified. The media was on fire. And the once powerful image of Lauren Sanchez, jet-setter, journalist, billionaire's bride was crumbling in real time. Every new piece of evidence peeled back another layer of a relationship the world thought it understood. It wasn't just a divorce.
It was a scandal years in the making.
And if the evidence was true, Sanchez hadn't just betrayed Bezos's trust, she'd engineered one of the most calculated takedowns in celebrity history. But the most explosive moment was still to come. Because Lauren Sanchez was about to take the stand, and what happened next would change everything. The courtroom was silent. All eyes were on Lauren Sanchez as she stepped onto the witness stand, once the glamorous wife of the world's richest man, now the woman accused of betraying him on a billion-dollar scale. From the moment she sat down, the energy shifted. Gone was the polished media personality. In her place stood someone visibly rattled, staring down a legal team that had spent weeks building a devastating case against her. And Bezos's attorneys didn't waste a second. They played the recording's secret audio files allegedly capturing Sanchez in hushed conversations, discussing strategy to embarrass Bezos publicly. Her voice, calm and composed in the clips, now echoed through the courtroom like a confession. Sanchez denied any malicious intent. She claimed she was venting, misunderstood, manipulated. She admitted to sharing private details, but insisted it was never meant to hurt Bezos. But the evidence kept coming. Transcripts, encrypted chats, and financial records showing large sums wired to obscure offshore accounts money prosecutors claimed was used to fund the leaks. Each time her legal team pushed back, Bezos's lawyers hit harder. And the jury? They watched as Sanchez's once confident image cracked with every revelation. Then came the breaking point. When confronted with newly uncovered messages, one suggesting direct coordination with third parties aiming to expose Bezos, Sanchez hesitated. Her voice shook, and though she denied everything again, the silence in the room said more than any statement could. What started as a celebrity feud had become a public dissection of trust, power, and betrayal on the highest level. No one in that courtroom saw the same woman who once graced red carpets. They saw someone cornered by evidence, facing a collapse not just of wealth but of identity. And yet, there was still one question no one could answer. Why? Why would Sanchez risk everything luxury, power, and love for what looked like a calculated act of revenge? The answer? No one knew for sure. But what was clear is that the trial had reached its boiling point. And with the final verdict approaching, the stakes couldn't be higher. Because this wasn't just about money anymore, it was about legacy. After weeks of explosive testimony, secret recordings, and emotional standoffs, the jury didn't take long to decide. The verdict? Jeff Bezos had won. A unanimous decision.
Swift.
Unflinching. And absolutely devastating. Lauren Sanchez was found liable for breach of trust, emotional harm, and deliberate defamation. The court ordered her to pay Bezos a staggering $5 billion a judgment that instantly made headlines around the world. The woman who had stood beside one of the most powerful men on earth was now facing total financial ruin. Within hours, media outlets exploded. Bezos crushes Sanchez in court. Billion-dollar betrayal ends in billion-dollar verdict. From power couple to public collapse. Sanchez, once seen as the glamorous counterpart to Bezos's empire, now walked out of the courtroom disgraced, her public image shattered, her future uncertain. Brands pulled back. Sponsorships disappeared. Friends distanced themselves. Access to the elite inner circles she once ruled?
Gone.
But here's the twist: Bezos didn't walk out untouched either. Yes, he won. Legally, financially, even publicly for a moment. But the world wasn't quick to celebrate him. Critics called it overkill. They accused Bezos of using his wealth and influence to destroy someone he once loved, of turning heartbreak into a public spectacle for revenge. Some even questioned whether this courtroom triumph actually helped his image or simply confirmed what many already feared, that Bezos was willing to crush anything or anyone who crossed him. And just like that, A wedding that once symbolized love and power now symbolized something else entirely, the high price of betrayal and the even higher cost of ego. But there was still one final question. Was this the end of the story, or just the beginning of something even darker? Jeff Bezos won the lawsuit. He got his $5 billion judgment. He exposed the betrayal, cleared his name, and walked away with the legal victory of a lifetime. But what did he really win? Because while Sanchez may have lost her fortune, Bezos lost something far more permanent: public trust. The man once praised for vision and discipline was now seen as cold, calculating, even ruthless. A titan of industry who had taken his private heartbreak and turned it into a public execution. And Lauren Sanchez? She didn't just lose money, she lost her name, her status, her seat at the table. The woman who once stood beside the most powerful man in tech became a cautionary tale in every headline. But maybe the most haunting part of it all is what this saga revealed about relationships at that level of wealth and influence. The glitz, the glamour, the fairy tale wedding, it all meant nothing when loyalty cracked, when egos clashed, when love turned into leverage. The $50 million wedding became a symbol of excess. The $5 billion lawsuit became a symbol of revenge. And the fall of Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez became a warning that even in the world of unimaginable wealth, power doesn't protect you from betrayal. It just puts a spotlight on it and makes the fallout so much harder to escape. So yes, Jeff Bezos walked away victorious. But in the end, maybe they both lost more than anyone will ever admit.